It's finally here. The Chiefs are going to kick off their season against the Chargers. They have to get this done no matter what. Get it in the air today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom. This is Locked On Chiefs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. You everydayers already know that, and we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you are with us everywhere, even on the text line at 816-357-8781. We cannot thank you enough. You made it. It is another season, and we're going to get after it. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, as well as NFL33.com and RGRFootball.com, together with my partner, Chris Clark, who you can find over at KCChiefsCorner.com. He is half of this duo that we've been doing this. Our 9th season is about to kick off. This is the first preview from it, and we are going to get after it. Thank you for all of you who've been here that whole time, and if you haven't, if you followed us on our previous platforms, together we've covered this league and this team for going on 25, 30 years. We appreciate you, and here's to another great season. We're going to run it down for you. The Chiefs are in Brazil. Who's in, who's out? That's coming up in just a second. Then we're going to get to the keys to getting that win and getting that season off to a good start. Then we will follow it up and finish up with matchups to watch and what our actual predictions are. Welcome to the show. Chiefs made it in the air. Chargers went down a day before, so we got a little bit of press from them, but we got two key things that we found out. One, Jalen Royals did not make the trip, will not be playing. We pretty much had that figured out. Omar Norman did make the trip. I think he's actually going to play. We're going to see how that works out. We'll get final notice probably just before kickoff, to tell you the truth, because I think that is a work in progress. They are going to be facing Najee Harris along with Marion Hampton. Harris and Hampton, the H&H brothers. I miss Najee. Najee. It's the way it is. It is what it is. So it's going to be an H&H running back field coming at the Chiefs, and I think that's going to be key.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge deal going up against that running game and going up against two backs that are going to be able to, get yardage on the ground. And I do think that is going to be the focus of the Chargers. I think that they want to shorten the game by running the ball and keeping the ball out of Patrick's hands. And having Najee Harris and having Amari, having Hampton as well, I think they're in a great situation to be able to try to do that. The question becomes, can Kansas City slow it down enough to get a lead to where the Chargers can't run the ball? Because if that happens, then this game kind of flips.
Yeah. And Jim Harbaugh basically said it at his first presser down there in South America that, we've got this running back tandem. We're going to use it. We want to run the ball. We're going to give them our best shot, and we're going to come at them. Okay. It's exactly what we expect. I know there will be counters to the Chiefs' counters, and we know that he's got tricks up his sleeve. He has run pass offenses before. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I don't think it's going to be a question. What I do think is that, as you said, if they don't get a couple of stops, for me, one of the things that really goes into this is how much balance can you get? How many drive stops can you get versus the drives that you put up? Can you just eke it out? Is it a 7-for-3 twice, getting you a 14-6 lead? Is that enough? Does that put them into that mode where they're looking to throw more predominantly rather than as the change of pace in play action? I think that's about it, but what do you think?
I think it's going to be based on the quarters. I think that if you get to a point where each team has had the ball 3 times and the Chiefs are only up, 1 score, or even if it's 2 score, but it's not the second half yet, I still think the Chargers are going to run the ball. If it gets into the second half and it's a 2-score game, and I'm talking probably more like 14 points versus 10, then the Chargers probably have to start throwing as opposed to trying to run the ball, because at that point, then you get in a situation where you need to score, 10 points or better. You need to try to score 2 touchdowns, and that's going to take up a lot of time if you're running the ball at 4 or 5 yards a clip.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now, I think statistically, certainly feel-wise, when we're talking the first game of the season, a Friday night game in another country that you were on a plane for half of a day for today, I think it comes down to what you can execute. And I do think that there is an advantage if your game plan is surrounding the run more than surrounding the pass. I think that there is a higher possibility of better execution. And so I do think that does play into the Chargers' hands a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that the question when it comes to the passing game is it's always, who are you going to be on? And it doesn't necessarily have to be on. It just has to be, are you hitting your passes? Like there are times where we've seen Mahomes come out and just not look right. And it's not necessarily that he's hurt or anything like that. So I'm not suggesting that, but it's just one of those things. Like there are some days where you just don't have it. And what we also don't know is, are there going to be any kind of conditions that they're going to be dealing with, or is this in a dome? I guess that's the thing I missed.
I think there's still going to be a weather attribute. I don't know that it's going to be a direct downpour if it does even rain. The forecast that I looked at did not call for rain, but as you know, many things change, especially with mountains behind you. Like you can get something running up on you pretty quick. So we'll have to see when we're closer out to actual kickoff Friday afternoon in the States, like what we're going to get into. But that also playing that factor in, I think the advantage that they have, the Chargers, in just trying to run the ball, I think is probably counteracted by the fact that Patrick Mahomes is ready to set everything on fire. Like there is scorched earth mentality going in this plane, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, and him being number 5 on the NFL Top 100 isn't going to help. I said this, a couple of days ago on the show, and I really do believe it when it first came out. Mahomes doesn't need any extra bulletin board material, but he is petty and he reads everything. He's going to know what the players said about him, and argue what you want. He still got them back to the Super Bowl with an offense that probably shouldn't have even made it out of the first round of the playoffs, if we're being fair about it.
Yeah, and that's absolutely fair. This team looks to be light years ahead in the two most important ways. We're going to break them down. It starts in the offensive line and out at that left tackle spot. The keys to getting this W are coming up next. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but PrizePicks, being right, means cashing in. With football back, PrizePicks is simply the simplest and fastest way to get into the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 players on their projections, any number in between there, and you can take real prizes. All in all, it's less than 60 seconds. I'm going to take Mahomes to go off for 275 plus. I am going to take whatever the over is on Travis Kelce because I think he's underrated. You want to get in those numbers, you can go find them out right now on PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use that code LOCKEDONNFL and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That code again is LOCKEDONNFL, all one word, for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 play. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Mazda. This is Mazda's Moving the Game Forward, brought to you by those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. Because these movements that we do more than win, they push what's possible. They remind us to go the extra yard, shift into that next higher gear, and keep moving the game forward. The Chiefs have to do that as they look to get this season off to a start. Last year, you didn't have Rashee Rice. Well, guess what? You're not going to have Rashee Rice for the first 6 weeks this season either. It's about who takes that opportunity to step into the light, to step onto the field, make that shift, and take that gear forward. We're all looking for that. That's what keeps fans and players alike moving forward and always chasing that next great moment. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. We appreciate you being with us. Make sure you everydayers are continuing that and spread the word, spread the hype, just like the season. And there are keys to doing that. The keys to getting this game come down to some concepts that we have discussed, and one that I'm going to take a little bit of umbrage with our cohort on the Chargers show. If you guys missed the crossover yesterday, make sure you go check that out. We had a good conversation, but I do have some takeaways that I think leave me with a few more keys that I'm more comfortable with. Let you go first because I don't want to steal your thunder about your first key to winning.
My key to winning is to actually do what they did in the preseason. Take shots downfield. It's show that is who you're going to be this season. Show that is going to be in your repertoire. Show that you want to attack. Show that you want to spread the offense, spread the field, and attack on all parts of the field, not just downfield, but side to side as well, because that will open things up regardless if it's down the field or if it's in the middle of the field. I really do think that this Chiefs offense needs to take, 4 or 5 shots over 20 yards in this game. I don't care if they connect on only half of them.
Yeah,
take them. It's going to get the defense it's going to affect the defense regardless of whether or not they hit on them. And if you hit on them and you hit on them big, it becomes an even bigger issue.
Yeah, I like that. It's like lighting a flamethrower, right? Like you don't have to get out of the way, but you got to be scared, right? And that's exactly what you're looking to do to the defense. On the other side, it's for me, the key to this game starts up front. It is the protection, and it is not necessarily on Josh Simmons, but it's on the staff and Andy in particular in calling the plays to protect the protectors. With Kingsley Suamati and Josh Simmons starting their first NFL games in their positions, this is going to be something that they're a little susceptible to. If you do what they've done in the past, and Andy likes to leave his tackles on islands, and Simmons has given him no reason not to trust him, and I completely recognize that. But if you start to see signs, if it's more than a bad play or two, either in one of them one-on-one or the two of them working as a duo, you got to supplement. You have to have things in the game plan to supplement how you help them help Mahomes in order to take those shots. And that, I think, is probably something that people are underrating the most. It's a slight tweak in the way the offense is called, at least to start this season.
Yeah, and I do think that you can supplement by using a running back out of the backfield as protection, helping step up and chip in, with either position. So I do think that that's something that they can look at doing. I think that you can also use the tight end at some level to help you. But I do think that this is a situation where they've got to come out and they've got to try to identify. And I would honestly put them both on an island for the first couple of snaps and test it. Because the reality is that if it doesn't work one series, you're going to be okay. But you at least get an idea as to how things are going to be coming at you, and you can make adjustments. I'm not saying they have to come out and throw the ball deep on the first play of the game or the second play of the game, but I am saying don't make it to where you're taking Josh Simmons away from being on an island. Put him on an island the first couple of snaps. See how it goes. You're going to know after the first couple of plays if that's something that they can get away with or not. And, man, if they can get away with it, it's going to be a huge boon for this Chiefs offense, because pass blocking, while the one area Kingsley will struggle is going to be that specific place in pass blocking, I do think that they can make enough to where it'll be okay. For me, when I look at this and I look at the keys to getting the win, obviously they're going to have to stop the run, and I get that. But to me, it's more of keeping Ladd McConkey under 100, 150 yards. If they can do that, I think that this is going to be a game that they should be able to win and win handily. And it's because Ladd McConkey is their main weapon. I know the Chargers host talked all about the other players that they have.
Who?
But Keenan Allen isn't Keenan Allen from 2 or 3 years ago. And Quentin Johnston hasn't progressed from where he was when he started. And so you're sitting here looking at it going, and Tyler Conklin, okay, it's Tyler Conklin. Like, okay, great.
I found that interesting that he didn't name the starting tight end in that situation, by the way.
Yeah. I look at this and I'm like, I think Kansas City is in a good position because they added all these weapons, and David had a great question, and this does play into how this game is going to play out. The one thing that the Chargers have that isn't going to be going for them in this game is they have no continuity. They have no real chemistry on that team. Yeah, you have training camp. Yeah, you have all that. But how long is it really going to get for this offense to click? Because it is going to take time for all those new pieces to adjust and do what they need to in the NFL.
Yeah, the click is the key part of it. Like, everything in preseason is one thing, but getting it to click now. I hope they run out Tyler Conklin. I hope that they run out Q. You do that, and then you're playing into the Chiefs' hands as far as I'm concerned. The last key for me is really about how you manage that run game. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see them say, we're going to bring up Marlon or one of the new guys, and we're going to run a bear and just cover guard, center guard, and take away the run. That's what I would love to see. But Steve Spagnuolo won't do that. I don't know if it's just that he has a grudge against me or what it is, but it's not going to happen. So
He doesn't care about stopping the run.
No, well, he probably does when it starts to hurt.
I know. I'm being a little facetious, but
so that puts it on the players, and that means that the players have to disengage. Chris Jones can shoot gaps all day long. That's fine. Derek Nottie can't. He's got to be able to shed like he did 2 seasons ago. If he is the Derek Nottie that we saw this preseason, Chiefs are in trouble because they don't have enough rotation, which means Norman Lott will be in early. And same thing for Norman. He's got to shed the blockers. That is the key to stopping this run.
And I will say this. The reason Spagnuolo doesn't really care about the run versus caring about the pass is because of who he has as his quarterback. You're not going to generally beat Patrick Mahomes by running the ball for 200 yards a game. Is it possible? Yeah, but your defense has better play lights out. I mean, they absolutely have to be lights out because if Mahomes gets the ball 4 or 5 times, I think he's putting up over 25 points. And I don't think that you're going to be able to keep up with that if you're running the ball. It's too many runs in a row that you need to be able to break to be able to be successful as an offense. And go back and look at how Kansas City's offense struggled last year passing the ball in the short yardage that they did. It was a struggle to get things done. They weren't a high-scoring offense. So to me, I think that's a huge deal. If they can get it figured out and they can keep them from having to run or having the ability to run the ball, this game could get away from the Chargers.
It's certainly good. To do that, you got to match up well. We have key matchups. One of mine is Xavier Worthy. We're going to run him down next.
It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this weekend's MVP on Who Delivered. Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks. Saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For the Chiefs, there's a couple of players that delivered fantastic games in the preseason that got them on the roster. Tyquan Thornton with his deep catch. Robert Tonyan continually getting balls down the field and helping out both the first string and second string QBs, and sometimes even the third string QBs, really got him on the roster for the Chiefs this year. When the pressure was on, Tonyan came through. No hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance wasn't a fluke. Robert Tonyan is on a streak. And just like Robert Tonyan delivered for the Chiefs, DoorDash delivers Saturdays with your DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season and you could save $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18.
Maybe the most fun part is the X's and O's of each game. Those of us who don't follow us for very long, welcome. We've been doing this for nearly a decade at this point, and I love the X's and O's, the guys that match up, the Johnnies and Joes that go against each other. And that's what this portion of the show is about. Who could be a difference maker and who could stand out amongst this group? I will let you start because I always steal your thunder. So who's number one on your list?
I said this on yesterday's show. I'll say it again. Josh Simmons versus whoever he's going up against, whoever their defensive end is. I don't have any hesitation to believe that the center to the right tackle position will be, I'm not going to say fantastic, but I think we can say it's going to be above average for most, and maybe the right tackle struggles a little bit. We'll see. Juwan Taylor's kind of a question mark a little bit with his knee issues, and he didn't get a ton of playing time in the preseason, but I still feel pretty good about that. But it's really Josh Simmons. If he can handle the left tackle job from day one, as he started in OTAs from day one, and show that he can play against Khalil Mack, is who it sounds like they think he's going to be going up against. I'll wait to see if that's the case.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then I think you have to feel pretty good about the entire season, but this game is going to be a lot easier for Kansas City than it was at any point last year because they have a solid left tackle now.
Yeah, and it makes a huge impact. I like where you're going there. I am going to stay on the offensive side. I know it's shocking for some people, but this is one that I've been thinking about quite a bit because let's be honest, Scorched Earth Mahomes is off on a tangent. I think he's going to try to make a statement with this game. And when you look at it, there's a Derwin James in that secondary, but there's only one Derwin James in that secondary. And so who do you look to go attack? Is it Cam Hart? Do you want to go against Dante Jackson? I don't think so. I think it's still, and still this preseason has been about 50-50 nickel versus outside corner. I think they're probably going to put him on the inside. I just feel like they think that there's a better matchup to be had for him there. Hart's tall, and I think that gives him a disadvantage. So the guy that I think is the key matchup is whatever they do to get Xavier Worthy free and get him in the slot against Still, who is a young player, doesn't have a lot of experience, and quite frankly, has never seen anybody run like Xavier Worthy. So I think that is the key matchup. Do they manufacture touches for him? Maybe even in the backfield? We've seen him do it in the past. But for me, it's the vertical game, especially on those 4 vert concepts where he's the guy crossing the middle of the safety. I think with the trailer behind, he's going to be able to just run away from Still. That's one of the matchups that I'm watching.
You know, my second matchup, I'm going to go over to the defensive side of the ball, and it's going to be Nick Bolton, and it's against both running backs. I mean, the reality is that this game is going to be won in the trenches, but the linebackers are going to play a key role as well. Like, you have defensive tackles that are, some of them can shed, some of them can make tackles in the backfield, some of them can make short losses for sure. Chris Jones is one of them. Derek Nottie can at times, but isn't consistent with it. So the question becomes, can Nick Bolton use what his huge advantage is and what he got signed to a contract extension for in his instincts to fill the right hole and get the running back down in 2 or 3 yards versus 5 or 6 yards? Because that extra 2 or 3 yards doesn't sound like much until it becomes 3 plays in a row and then it's a first down.
Yeah, it buys you a new set of downs every time. I like that one. I'm going to stay on the defensive side with my second key matchup, and that for me is the Chiefs' best defender outside of Chris Jones and Trent McDuffie against Ladd McConkey. And I do think it should be a one-on-one matchup. He should trail McConkey wherever he goes all day long, no matter what. I don't care. Wherever he lines up, even if it's in the backfield, be there. I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. Do you believe that McConkey is their only real weapon, their wide receiver weapon? Because you kind of talked about that earlier, but you didn't really go into it. So I want you to expand a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I feel he's their only serious threat to be someone that they could funnel a game plan through. Yep. Will guys make catches? Sure. I do think that Disley is a guy that is opportunistic. And I thought it was funny in our crossover yesterday. The other host did not mention Disley as somebody who's going to catch passes. I think that he probably will. Keenan Allen is Keenan Allen. He's always had kind of an edge here. I don't think he's quick enough to play against McDuffie. And if they choose to line McDuffie up on some section of the field in order to take away that portion of the field, they putting Keenan Allen out there because he ain't beating Trent McDuffie. I'll tell you that right now. So will you get a stray catch from Quentin Johnson? I doubt it. I don't know that he can catch it all these days. I'm interested to see Trey Harris. I thought he showed a lot coming out in the draft class, but I don't think he got a chance to show much in this preseason. A lot of the starters didn't even play in preseason number 3 for the Chargers. It was an interesting conceptual difference between these two teams about the way they prepared. This Chargers team is rusty and dramatically so compared to the Chiefs.
Well, yeah, that's a huge – when you start talking about a team that doesn't have great chemistry anyway because they haven't played together enough. And Keenan Allen is the exception. Ladd McConkey is the exception. I guess Quentin Johnson is an exception, but I don't think that you feel great about that. So I look at this and I look at this offense for the Chargers, and until they actually come out and they prove that they can do something, I'm not going to be as worried about them as our fellow co-host seems to think that they're going to be very good. And they could be a good season. They could have a good season. I just look at it and there's too many question marks for me. And the Chargers deal with injuries all the time, and they went out and they got a road grading guard, which could help with, but can he stay healthy?
Yeah.
And Trey Pipkins as your right tackle, you feel good about that? Because I wouldn't. Pipkins is what got Herbert hurt last year. So you're just you're in a bad situation as the Chargers. And I want to be clear on this. The Chargers could score 28 points in this game. It wouldn't shock me, because what else did we talk about yesterday in the show? The Chiefs defense struggles, and we talked about this with Matt too. They usually struggle the first 4 weeks of the season. They're not going to be what they're going to be at the end of the season, and it would not shock me for them to allow a lot of points in this game. I will say my last matchup that I'm really looking forward to is Travis Kelce on Derwin James. And it's not necessarily because I think it's a huge key matchup near as much as it is. It's always a fun matchup to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And you get great football you get to watch two of the best players in the NFL. And I'm sorry, Derwin James is one of the best safeties in the NFL. He has been for a long time. You get those two players going against each other. And I do think that Travis Kelce is going to show that he is not done like some people think he could be.
I like that concept. And I think they're both getting a little bit older. I hope that the Chargers think that Travis is done and that Derwin isn't on him all game, because I think that affords some possibilities. Wild card here, I will just say Jaden Hicks against Rondé Gadsden, the young tight end, the guy that they might bring in for a spark when their other two, I don't think, get a whole lot done. Look for Hicks to be on the field when he is. And I think that's a matchup that doesn't look congruous on paper, but Hicks has a nose for the ball, and I'm looking for him to do something. So he's a guy to watch.
Spagnuolo, if you're listening, sorry, one thing. Spagnuolo, if you're listening, please do not make Chamari Connor cover Lad McConkey the entire game. Please.
We don't ask a lot, but that's one of them. Okay, so that brings us to kick off the season. You want the first go at predicting, or do you want me to do
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think that the big lights in the travel back and forth to the stadium and being on prime time early in the year is a whole lot easier for the Kansas City Chiefs than it is for the Chargers. I just don't think the experience level is there, and the comfort in being uncomfortable is there for the Chargers. So while I do think their game plan and their run game plan in particular is definitely dangerous to the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think that it's enough to really scare me in the end. I think they have a pretty good first quarter, and Chiefs might even be reeling against the run, but I do think they will get it sorted out and get it together. And I think when Patrick and the offense feels that, I think they're going to make some pretty explosive plays. I'm looking for 4 chunk plays, 15 pluses in the first half, and I think they're going to get off to it in the first half to set that tone. And in the end, I think the Chiefs pull away from 27-24.
Okay, so you're going to go a little bit lower scoring than I will. I look at this game, and it is ugly usually the first couple of weeks of the season, of the NFL season. Kansas City has been very successful in September, so I don't think that that's an issue for them, but it is usually an issue for other teams, and I do think it could play into how this is going to work for the Chargers. The other thing, and you mentioned this in talking about the matchups, they took Herbert. I mean, Herbert hasn't played in weeks at this point. Like, Mahomes has played a little over 2 weeks ago at this point, but Herbert hasn't played for a lot longer. That is an issue. It's going to be something that I think could really be a big storyline in this game, is the difference between how the Chargers handled the preseason and how the Chiefs handled the preseason. So when I look at this game, I think Kansas City is going to come out, and I 1,000% agree with you. Mahomes is ready to go scorched earth, because I don't think he was very happy about all the talk all offseason. And I don't think he's very happy about where he's ranked in the NFL by the NFL players. And I get all of it, but I would never bet against him. And when you look at the weapons he has, even without Rashee Rice, if this offense doesn't score 30 points, I will be surprised. So I'm going to go 34-24 Kansas City.
Okay. We'd love to know what you think. Put your predictions in the comments here on YouTube. Follow us on X, everywhere that you can. We appreciate you. Make sure you get everything that you need, you everydayers. You already do. That text line for breaking news is 816-357-8781. Now, we are going to be live post-game with Matt Derrick. The timing will be interesting. We'll have it for you. So I know it's a late game, but make sure you make room for us as well as everybody else that you want to see post-game. We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you for your time today, and we will catch you after the Chiefs' first regular season game against the Chargers.